The neighborhood of Silver Fern Estates was the kind of place where people smiled on the sidewalks and gossiped the moment the door closed behind them. A place polished on the surface but boiling underneath. And this October, something in that perfect little suburb felt especially brittle, like the whole place was one wrong step away from snapping in half. At the center of that tension stood one woman, the self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac, Patricia Langford, known behind closed doors as HOA Karen, long before the world found out why. Across the street lived Daniel Reyes, a quiet man who'd spent the last 3 months preparing what he proudly called the greatest Halloween display in county history. 12 full-size skeletons, LED eyes, fog machines, a flying witch rigged to zipline at midnight. He'd worked on it after long night shifts, sweating under floodlights, humming to himself, imagining the joy on kids' faces. But joy wasn't what Patricia wanted in her kingdom. She wanted control. And the first night she saw Daniel's skeletons lining the yard like a cheerful army, her jaw tightened so hard she nearly cracked her molar. Halloween decorations weren't banned, but she had decided they were tacky. Visual pollution, she wrote on Nextdoor at 12:17 a.m. Trash, low class, against community standards, even though no such rule existed. The post ended with the line that would come back to haunt her. "Don't worry, neighbors, I'll handle it." Before we go deeper into this wild spiral of trespassing, humiliation, and poetic justice, let me pause for a moment and say this properly. Welcome to Honorbound Tales. If you love stories of quiet strength, chaotic karma, and justice that lands exactly where it should, hit like, subscribe, and comment your location so I know just how far these stories travel. Now let's get back to the night everything went off the rails. The first skeleton vanished on a Tuesday. Daniel came home from work and saw an empty patch of grass where Skeletor, the lawn guardian, once stood. No note, no explanation, no warning. He checked the cameras only to find the footage mysteriously corrupted, static flashing at the exact minute of the theft. Someone had walked right onto his lawn. The second skeleton disappeared the next night. The third the night after that. By the end of the week, half his Halloween display was gone. 12 skeletons stolen, one by one, like she was plucking trophies. On Nextdoor, Patricia posted nightly victory updates. "Another piece of tacky Halloween trash removed from my block. You're welcome. This neighborhood will not look like a spirit Halloween exploded. Some of us have standards." Neighbors whispered about it at the mailbox. Others were terrified to speak up. A few secretly admitted they loved Daniel's decorations but didn't dare cross the HOA president. Not when she'd fined people for leaving trash cans visible for 23 minutes. But Patricia didn't know one thing. She didn't know that Daniel was not just creative. He was a robotics hobbyist with a dark sense of humor. And on night 8, when she swaggered onto his porch like a Halloween ghoul hunter, she met something she absolutely wasn't ready for. The bone-white figure sitting in the middle of the yard looked like any other skeleton, same size, same shape, same empty grin. But this one was no ordinary plastic prop. Daniel had spent days building something special. A trick for a trickster. Inside the rib cage was a custom pressure sensor. In the spine, a locking piston. And in the skull sat a GoPro live streaming to his channel. At the base of the feet, a motion-triggered siren with a sound profile borrowed from an old Cold War bunker alarm. He'd named it the Hugger. At 3:03 a.m., the neighborhood slept. Everyone except Patricia. She crept toward Daniel's yard dressed in black like some suburban ninja, whispering to herself about standards and order. She looked around. No cars, no lights. She stepped onto his lawn. She approached the final skeleton. She smirked. Then she grabbed its arm. The skeleton grabbed her back. Two bony arms clamped shut around her torso with mechanical strength. Patricia froze, too shocked even to scream. Then the skeleton's jaw unhinged slightly, and the air raid siren detonated. The sound blasted through the neighborhood like the apocalypse had arrived. Lights switched on, dogs barked, birds exploded out of trees. Patricia shrieked so loudly she nearly drowned out the siren. She tried to wrench herself free, but the locking mechanism tightened like a trap. Every movement only triggered another alarm, each louder than the last. The GoPro angled downward, capturing her face as she contorted in fury, screaming, "Let me go! This is illegal! I am the HOA president!" The livestream title auto-updated instantly. HOA Karen versus Demon Skeleton. Live. Within minutes, the view count exploded. 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. People clipped it, memed it, shared it, reacted to it in real time. By minute 20, one viewer typed, "Bro, that thing got a better grip than my ex." By minute 30, "She really fighting for her life against a Walmart bone man." By minute 45, 2 million viewers were watching her flail like she was caught in a haunted bear trap. And there she stayed, trapped, shrieking, panicking, arms pinned, until Daniel stepped outside with his coffee, wearing slippers and a robe, blinking like he'd wandered into a dream. He stood over her calmly. "Patricia, why are you hugging my skeleton?" "Turn this thing off!" "Oh, so you admit you were trespassing." It's a community cleaning operation." At 3 a.m, on my private lawn. He tilted his head, letting the logic fall into place, while stealing the last skeleton from my display. Patricia froze, for the first time since the trap grabbed her. Her eyes darted to the GoPro. "Is this streaming?" "Yep." To who?" "Everyone." Her face strained. "Everyone?" she whispered. He nodded. "Everyone." When the locking arms finally released her, she crumpled into the grass like a deflated parade balloon. She scrambled up, shrieking about lawyers and harassment and defamation, but the damage was done. The neighborhood gathered silently around her, watching their tyrant melt down beneath a skeleton's shadow. Someone whispered, "She stole my witch decorations last year." Another said, "She fined me for a faded pumpkin." A third muttered, "She cut down my inflatable ghost because it blocked my view." The truth poured out like a broken dam. Patricia heard every word. That morning, Daniel filed a trespassing report. Not petty revenge, just a factual account with video evidence. The police took it seriously, especially after seeing the shredded skeletons Patricia had proudly displayed online like trophies. But the real blow came not from the police, but from her own HOA board. Members gathered for an emergency meeting at dawn. Phones buzzed, screenshots flew. Residents demanded accountability. And when the vice president tallied the votes, Patricia was ousted unanimously. 12 years of terror ended in a single night. Her reputation? Gone. Her authority? Vaporized. Her name? Forever attached to the meme. HOA Karen versus Demon Skeleton. 2 million views. But for Daniel, something unexpected happened too. The neighborhood that once whispered, now united. People donated decorations, kids helped fix his display, neighbors brought him snacks, thanked him, clapped him on the back. A local store even offered him a sponsorship to build the county's largest Halloween spectacle. And Patricia? Let's just say she avoids the street during October now. She moved her bedroom to the back of the house. She refuses to walk past Daniel's property. She never mentions skeletons, plastic or otherwise. Because she knows. One skeleton wasn't plastic. And it changed everything. If you've stayed with this story all the way to the end, thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment your location so I know just how far the Honorbound community reaches. And before you go, let me ask you a question that matters more than it seems. What's the most outrageous thing someone ever tried to get away with until the truth caught them in the perfect trap?